Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/slash cheating stories, where OP's cheating wife is finally getting her karma. Let's begin. She wants a decorated house. She's going to get a decorated house. Posted by Reddit user A Quiet Borderline.
Merry late Christmas. My friends Adam and Belle have a story about one of their neighbors and how he managed to stuff a 5-pound bag of coal in a Karen stocking this Christmas by using malicious compliance. This particular neighbor, Tim, and his wife, Frances, would go overboard on the outdoor decorations every Christmas. There'd be lights, garlands, wrought iron reindeer statues, snowflakes, candy canes, a 6-feet-tall Santa statue, a nativity set, etc., etc. It was its own brand of charm according to the neighbors. Unfortunately, earlier this year, Frances suffered a massive stroke and passed away. Tim was devastated, especially as Christmas came closer and closer. Frances's favorite holiday was Christmas. Tim told the neighbors around Thanksgiving that he wasn't going to decorate the house that year. It was just too painful without Frances there. Everyone was sad, but they understood. Unfortunately, Karen didn't get this memo. It's the week or so after Thanksgiving and people who haven't put up Christmas decorations are busy doing so. Adam and Belle were walking their dog, Domingo. Tim is out front of his house, getting the mail. Adam and Belle go up with Domingo to see Tim and say hello. While they're talking, a red minivan pulls into Tim's driveway. Karen steps out. Belle and Adam have never seen her before, but Tim recognizes her. "Good morning, Karen." "Yeah, hi. I was wondering if you were going to put up your Christmas decorations this year." Adam, Belle, and Tim look at each other uncomfortable. "I'm not going to put up any decorations this year," Tim said. "And why not?" Karen asked. "Christmas reminds me of Frances." "Well, what about my kids? They've been looking forward to seeing the house decorated. And the fact that you're pretty much the only house that isn't decorated makes them really sad." What would Frances want? Belle, Adam, and Tim just stared in astonishment. "We've had a pandemic and we need the cheering. They've been looking forward to this every year." Tim is looking both angry and broken-hearted. Adam and Belle are ready to tell Karen to go stuff it, but Karen sets the trap for Tim's malicious compliance. "We're going to be here after church on Christmas Eve and this house better be decorated." And with that, Karen gets back into her minivan and drives off. Belle looks at Tim and he's got a malicious smile on his face. She wants a decorated house. She's going to get a decorated house. The weeks pass and Tim starts getting several packages delivered. He also starts putting things up in the yard, but they're covered with bed sheets, so they look like those Halloween ghosts. He also starts putting lights on the house. There are more lights than usual, but he doesn't turn them on at night. Karen and her minivan don't show up, even though Adam and Belle had alerted everyone in the neighborhood about her. Christmas Eve rolls around. Adam and Belle are invited to Tim's house for dinner and to watch the movie Scrooged. They are also asked to bring your own beer. When they arrive, the curtains are drawn. Tim greets them with a big smile. They settle down and he details his plan, asking for their help. They're laughing at the end of it and eagerly agree. As they work, Belle notes that he's happier than they've seen him in a while. Tim says it's hopefully going to get even better. By this point, it's still just light enough that they can see what they're doing but just dark enough that you can't see what's in the yard. They remove the bed sheets and laugh at all the decorations that have been set up. There's a nice dinner and watch the movie. Midway through the movie, Tim's alarm goes off on his cell phone. He pauses the movie, looks at Adam and Belle and says, "It's showtime." Everyone bundles up and they head to the sidewalk across the street. It's now pitch black and Tim's house still isn't lit up. There's the usual cars driving through the neighborhood, with Karen's red minivan being at the end of the line. "Right on time," Tim says, taking a remote out of his coat pocket. They wait until the red minivan reaches the front. Tim presses the button. According to Belle, it was like the scene from Christmas Vacation when the Griswold's house turns on. There's red, white, and blue lights galore. The yard has eagle statues, stars, flags, banners, statues of liberty, etc. In the windows are lights that look like exploding fireworks. Tim grins and presses another button. All of a sudden, Star-Spangled Banner begins to belt out through several speakers placed throughout the yard. As Adam, Belle, and Tim are laughing as the minivan stops and parks, Karen gets out of the driver's seat and storms over to them. "What is that?" she shrieks, pointing to the house and looking about ready to blow a gasket. "It's my salute to all nations, but mostly America," Tim said. "Don't you like it? It's Christmas." Karen shouts, "I wanted you to decorate the house for Christmas." "You wanted a decorated house, Karen. You didn't say what holiday." With that, Karen flipped them off, got back in the minivan and drove off. Tim turned off the music and lights and they headed back to Tim's house to finish Scrooged. Tim told Adam and Belle as they were leaving for the night, "I think I'm going to decorate my house like this every Christmas." Francis would have gotten a kick out of it.
I sometimes couldn't believe the entitlement of some of these Karens to demand other people to decorate their own home after his wife just died, just so she and her shitty kids can see some Christmas lights. If that was me, I would have just made a big display of lights that spelled out, "Fuck you, Karen." And now for today's second story. My wife cheated with a coworker. Posted by Reddit user W Chocolate.
My wife and I have been married for 19 years. We have been together for 25 years. We have 3 great kids under the age of 14. In 2015, she lost her mother to cancer and in 2016 her father to cancer. This sends her into a deep depression. For the following 2 years, I took care of the kids while she worked. Dead bedroom starts during this time. Nothing makes her happy. Now because she doesn't talk to me, I start playing video games when the kids go to bed. After 2 years, she starts coming out of her depression. She talks more and wants to do stuff with the family. We start being physical again. This went on for a year, then I lost my father. This sent me into a depression because we were very close. Like my wife, I closed myself off to her. I started playing video games more and I ignored my wife. I never stopped saying I love you or giving hugs or taking her out. We started sleeping in different rooms because our son had a medical condition where we had to keep eye on him at night. So I slept in his room. I moved my Xbox in there and played video games for a couple of hours till I fell asleep. Then COVID happens. My kid's school goes remote and my wife started working from home. My wife's job required her to start looking for supplies to reopen her business when the restriction stops. She starts working closely with another member of her company. After a few months, she starts being distant and stops communicating with me. I try to keep telling her I love her and buying small gifts to show my love and appreciation. We decided that in 2021 school we would keep our kids at home to remote learn because our son had a serious medical condition. I was so busy with kids' school I really didn't notice the distance getting worse until much later. Dead bedroom starts again. Then in the summer of 2021, I start to work for Lyft because we needed extra money. I worked on the days she works from home so she could be close to our son's school. In the fall of 2021, I picked up this lady from the airport and drive her to her hotel downtown. During this ride, she talks to her female friend on the phone about her meeting her affair partner to have sex because they are both in town for business. She said her husband is at home with the kids and is playing video games. They haven't had sex in over a year. He is too busy to know she's cheating. I start thinking this sounds like us. So I started being more affectionate and more loving. I'm already a loving and affectionate person. Nothing, distance is getting worse. I write a letter telling her I love her and I know there is distance between us. I want to work it out, but she has to be willing to work on us. She said she will try to be better. For the next year, she shows hardly any affection and doesn't want sex because her depression pills given her no sex drive. We barely hold hands and don't say she loves me unless I say it first. When we are in the car together, she sleeps so she doesn't talk. D-Day was May 4th of this year. My wife went into the office. I went to work and I was texting her during the day with no response. Then she finally called me and I told her I have been texting her all day. She tells me she never got my text because of the signal in her office. She has Google Chat, so I will message her there and it will show up on her work computer. No responses. She gets home and after we put the kids to sleep, she takes a shower. This is where I finally broke down and checked her phone. Now May 4th is a big Star Wars day. May the 4th be with you. So I checked her texts from me to see if it was true she didn't get them until she left the office. I checked Google Chat and this is where I found her cheating. She woke up this day and messaged him on Google Chat all the May the 4th gifs. I am a Star Wars fan also. Did I get one? Absolutely not. So I checked all their messages, and the affair has been going on for almost 3 years. There were tons of I miss you and I love you. I feel so stupid. I am completely devastated. This guy moved to Kansas in 2020, but comes into office 1 week a month since he works remote the other weeks. I guess when they would have Zoom meetings with each other to get their business open, he began to flirt. In the past, guys would flirt with her but she would shut them down. This guy wasn't as handsome as me. I'm not 10, I have a little dad bod. Maybe I'm a 6 to 7, he was a 4. She began to flirt back then they would go to lunch together. Then the lunches turned to going to his hotel room for lunchtime sex and tell me she had worked late to have more sex. I even saw a text to her friend saying the sex wasn't better. She just craves the attention. So I screenshot everything to myself. I didn't say anything because I was having surgery in the summer and needed her help. After surgery, we had decided to move closer to family. She barely helped me look for houses. I checked her phone again in October. I guess the relationship came to an end in June before my surgery. He was mad that she was taking time to care of me and the kids. I was wondering why she became more affectionate and loving and wanting to have sexy time with me after I healed. Last week we got into a huge argument because she started being distant and wasn't communicating again. So I yelled and told her I knew she cheated with a coworker. She denied and said I was overreacting. Then I shoved the evidence in her face. Then she stopped yelling and putting me down and started crying. I just left and went to my sister's house. I came back home to be with the kids for Christmas. Then I will leave again. I told her I am filing for divorce after the new year. She cried and asked who will drive her to work and pick her up, who will help her with the kids. I told her to ask her a fair partner. Then she starts crying more, saying we can work it out, do marriage counseling. I will seek full custody when I file the divorce paperwork, also alimony and child support. 25 years I feel is wasted.
OP, you are doing the right thing. But in addition to getting a lawyer, I suggest that you stop telling her your next moves, man. Come on. Just file the papers and do exactly what your lawyer tells you to do. And from now on, the only conversation that you have with her is supposed to be about the kids, nothing more. OP, I can't stress this enough. Get a parenting app. It will serve you well if she starts lying about you. And lastly, do not expose her affair yet. Wait until the divorce is finalized. Otherwise, she will make it a living hell for you. Good luck, man. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.